All right, I'm gonna talk about Becky, the Wrath of Becky. Now, the first movie was pretty good, but now this one is about the same as the first one. The first one she was fighting some neo Nazis. Now, the second movie she fighting some white supremacists, some the noblemen. So it's like a take on these white supremacist groups that's out here, like the Patriot Front. There's a bunch of other white supremacist groups out here. They're like incel white supremacist groups, but it's a bunch of white supremacist groups that this certain group in this movie portrayed. There's too many of them to name, but some about these two movies, which really kind of get my mind going, is that why they choose, the director or whoever wrote this movie choose to fight some white supremacists. The first one they was fighting some neo-Nazis. Had Kevin James. He was the main neo-Nazi. He had a swastika tattoo on the back of his head. It's crazy. Now, in this movie, they got some white supremacists, but they're not Nazis. They're like incel, Patriot Front, Proud Boy type of white supremacists. So it's a different take on white supremacists. So in my mind, I'm wondering, why is this director or whoever wrote this movie got these people portraying white supremacists for? I don't understand that one. I really don't. Because they got this little girl, Becky. She's getting into it and killing some of these people. But they just show her killing some of these people. They don't show nobody else killing nobody else. They don't show no black person killing these people, just her. So that kind of boggles my mind a little bit about these movies, about the first one and the second one, The Wrath of Becky. Like I said, I enjoyed this movie. I give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's a horror movie. It's a drama. It's going on. There's a lot going on in this movie. But the one thing about this movie I really didn't like is that Becky, she was living with a black woman, and the black woman tried to save her when the white supremacists came into her house. I don't know how they got into the house. They didn't show these guys get inside this woman's house, but the woman had a shotgun, and she was about to shoot these white supremacists, and then one of the white supremacists took a gun out real fast and shot her in the head. I guess she didn't have no faster reflexes, but that really pissed me off. I didn't like that part. They just killed this black woman. I guess she wasn't. It's kind of hard to explain because she had the shotgun ready and she had the shotgun pointed at him. He just pulled out the gun real fast, and I guess she just reacted too late. I don't understand that part. But like I said, Becky, she ended up burying the black woman, and didn't even give this woman a proper funeral. This woman had family. And that's the part of the movie that really, really pissed me off. Because that woman, Becky, did not give this woman a proper funeral. She just buried this woman. And that really pissed me off. I wish whoever directed this movie, written this movie, would have gave this woman a proper funeral instead of Becky just burying. How Becky gonna bury this woman? Becky was like 16 years old. How's she gonna pick this woman up and drag her all the way? They ain't show her dragging this woman. They ain't show her digging no ditch, digging no grave, or none of that. That's one of the pet peeves I have about this movie. But another part of the movie that's very insidious, is that she went to an old woman's house. Her name was Daryl, and one of the white supremacist men, his name was Daryl also. So they were in cahoots with each other. So his mama was a white supremacist herself. So that shows you how insidious white supremacy is, that the woman, somebody's mama, would take part in being in a white supremacist group, or even starting a white supremacist group. So that's how insidious white supremacy is. These women, they be in the back, in the background when it comes to white supremacy. They toe the line for white supremacy, and I'm glad this movie put that out there. And not just men, it's women too. So I was kind of surprised that they would put that woman out there like that. elderly woman. She had to be like in her 80s. She was smoking and had an oxygen tank with her at the same time. Oh man, but like I said, it was just like the first one. She ended up killing the guys, and this movie was only an hour and 20-something minutes long. I enjoyed the movie, like I said, but the movie it's a masterclass on white supremacy. Both of the movies are, especially this one, because it didn't show you nothing about no Nazis. It just showed you regular white supremacists. The noble man. And they had the little flags and everything, green flag with the NM on it. So, like I said, this movie is like a masterclass to teach people about white supremacy and how insidious white supremacy can be, and how these white supremacists out here really don't have anything to live for. Those people in this movie, they really didn't have anything to live for. So they ended up joining this group, and they was gonna, terrorize some town with a Mexican senator. They was gonna do some type of insurrection like the January 6th insurrection that they had up there at the state at the Capitol. So they was just portraying the same thing over and over again. So this is like a January 6th type of movie, but with Becky come in and kill them at the end of the movie. So, like I said, I give this movie 8 out of 10. I already knew what I was getting myself into watching this movie, but I could see myself watching this movie again to really dig in deep on how these white supremacist mind works. I dig in deep on white supremacy, and any movie that has white supremacists in it, my mind is focused on that movie. Because, when we live in a system of white supremacy in the United States, and we live in a system of white supremacy globally, and these white supremacist groups are everywhere. Even in the movie, they said they had people all up in law enforcement. They had people that in higher ups, and even like in congressmen and senators. Everybody was in this group. So law enforcement, senators, congressmen, everybody was in that group. And they had like a flash drive where everybody's names on there. So, and they end up, she ended up getting a flash drive and ended up giving it to the CIA, and the CIA was already watching these people. But what I don't understand about the CIA in this movie, like, if y'all knew about these people, why y'all wasn't doing nothing about it? You see, in real life, we have all these white supremacist groups out here, but law enforcement ain't doing nothing about it. The FBI ain't doing nothing about it. The CIA ain't doing nothing about it. Ain't nobody doing nothing about it. They let these people run a ruckus around the United States. These are white supremacist terrorists. And basically the movie was showing you the same thing. They are white supremacist terrorists. They didn't need to have no Nazi signs. They didn't need to carry around no swastikas. They didn't need to do none of that. They had their own flag. They weren't worried about being no Nazi. They was trying to be white supremacists. And I like this movie because it shined the light on how deep white supremacy goes and how deep white supremacy is. That's why I give this movie 8 out of 10. It's like A-, A+ almost. So I didn't mean to go on a rant about this movie, but that's been my review of The Wrath of Becky. Very good movie. It's a very good masterclass on white supremacy. If you want to watch this movie and learn something about white supremacy, this is the movie to watch. Don't even worry about all the killing that she's doing and all the other stuff. This is a masterclass of white supremacy. And people need to watch this movie just to get the glimpse on how insidious and how sick these people are. So this been Mo the Pimp God. All hail to the Pimp God. Church, Tabernacle, and Preach. I'm a holler.